Hello and welcome to today's Explainer. We are looking at a truly fascinating shift in how we actually interact with artificial intelligence on our personal computers. We're officially moving way beyond the days of simple cloud chatbots and stepping right into the dawn of local AI agents. Today we're going to unpack the official source material on Google's rollout of Gemini Spark to the macOS beta environment. If you want to understand how this tech is moving directly onto your desktop to become a highly secure workflow automation engine, well, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this with a scenario I think literally all of us can relate to. What if your AI could just organize your messy downloads folder on its own? You know the one. We all have that chaotic folder we pretend doesn't exist. Up until now, AI has basically been something you chat with in a browser window. But what if it could actually do the heavy lifting of sorting, moving, and organizing your local files without you dragging and dropping a single thing? That is the exact promise of this massive new update.
So here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. First, Spark hitting the desktop. Second, granular local automation. Third, the expanding app ecosystem. Fourth, real-time tracking capabilities. And finally, the reality check on constraints and premium costs. Let's get right to it. Starting off with Section 1, Spark hits the desktop. Think about the stark contrast we're dealing with between the old way and the new way. The old cloud-native reality meant you had to manually drag and drop uploads, and everything happened in an isolated sandbox browser window. But the new paradigm? We're talking about a hybrid desktop agent, direct local file access, and seamless graphical interface integration built right into your system's sidebar, completely eliminating manual uploads. It takes Spark from a tool you go out of your way to visit and turns it into a tool that just lives exactly where you work. To be super specific about what you need on your machine, you're looking for app version 1.80.15.516 or higher, which gets pushed through the built-in updater. Once you've got that, it introduces a native Spark top tab right there in your macOS sidebar. It essentially mirrors the web experience, sure, but it embeds it directly into your daily workspace. Moving right along to our second section, granular local automation. Now, handing over your local files to an AI sounds amazing for productivity, but it immediately sets off security alarm bells, right? Well, this crucial quote from the source material addresses that head-on. It says, the granular approach aligns with macOS sandboxing principles and reduces the attack surface for unintended data exposure. Basically, Google hasn't just handed Spark the keys to your entire hard drive. Unlike older automation frameworks that might demand sweeping directory permissions, Spark is heavily restricted. It absolutely cannot just scan arbitrary drives on a whim. And that brings us to a really brilliant concept: connected folders. These are local directories that you, the user, explicitly grant Gemini Spark access to. It is a 100% consent-based model. You tell it exactly where it's allowed to look, maybe just your downloads or a specific documents folder, and you hold the power to manually unlink them at any time right from the sidebar. You remain in total control of the whole shebang. This is where the productivity potential gets incredibly exciting. Once those folders are connected, you can turn hours of mind-numbing manual file sorting into instant action. You can literally ask Spark to scan your unorganized files, intelligently group your PDFs by context, clean up messy folders, or, and this is my favorite, build a budget spreadsheet using the latest invoices saved locally on your Mac. It reads the local data and can even push the finished results straight into a Google Workspace document.
If you're itching to set this up, the official documentation lays out a very clear path. Step 1. Install the correct beta app version. 2. Open the Spark tab in your sidebar. 3. Select connected folders from the menu. 4. Explicitly grant access to the specific directories you wanted to organize. And 5. Configure your execution settings. Actually, speaking of settings, there is one in particular that is absolutely crucial to understand.
You've got this mandatory checkpoint called Alert when a backup fails. It's turned on by default, and it acts as a strict human-in-the-loop failsafe. See, when Spark attempts to modify any file, it creates a backup of it first. If that backup fails for any reason, maybe your disk is full or file permissions are blocking it, the automation stops completely dead in its tracks. It demands your explicit human approval before taking another step. This completely prevents silent data overwrites, which gives you incredible peace of mind.
Okay, on to Section 3, expanding the app ecosystem. Because Spark isn't just staring at your local files, it's branching out. When we dig into the new rollout of integrations, it is seriously impressive. We've got first-party Google apps, of course, like Keep and Tasks. We've got major third-party players joining the fray, like Canva, Dropbox, Instacart, OpenTable, and even Zillow Rentals. But the absolute game changer in the docs is under custom frameworks. They're adding support for the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which allows you to plug in custom app links to build a highly tailored, deeply personal assistant.
To really picture how this ecosystem makes productivity totally frictionless, look at this exact workflow highlighted in the source text. You can ask Spark to scan your scattered, unorganized brain dumps currently sitting in Google Keep and instantly synthesize them into clear, actionable items over in Google Tasks. The AI is literally acting as the intelligent bridge between your isolated tools.
And the source material teases a coming soon feature that is quite frankly mind-blowing: remote execution. Picture this. You're completely away from your computer, maybe grabbing a coffee. You pull out your phone, assign a multi-step task to Spark, saying something like, "Find the latest sales report on my Mac, extract the total revenue number, and email it to me," and Spark executes that local Mac workload while you're standing in line. That is the crazy level of automation we are rapidly approaching.
Let's jump into Section 4, Real-Time Tracking Capabilities, because Spark is proving to be much more than just an execution engine.
It's really acting as a 24/7 personal intelligence agent. It can intelligently track dynamic topics across the web in real time. We're talking soccer highlights fetched the very second the match ends. Detailed financial reports triggered the moment a specific stock crosses a threshold you set. It can monitor blogs, news sites, social media, shopping price drops, and weather updates, all completely autonomously in the background.
Basically, you can finally stop mashing the refresh button on your browser. Spark acts as a tireless digital assistant. You just feed it your parameters, and it intelligently gathers tailored intelligence from across the entire web, dropping customized reports into your email exactly when the conditions you care about are actually met.
Finally, that brings us to Section 5, Constraints and Premium Costs. As with all bleeding-edge tech, we need to ground the hype in reality. And the reality is, this isn't some casual free utility.
That big number says it all. 99. To get access to Gemini Spark's beta on macOS, you absolutely must have a Google AI Ultra subscription, and that currently runs $99 or more per month. This firmly positions Spark as a premium, heavy-duty automation tool intended for serious productivity workflows.
Now, if you are a developer looking to build programmatic, unmonitored workflows, you need to hear these strict constraints. There is zero public API or SDK support right now. No terminal or command line interface access whatsoever. The automation is purely GUI-driven through the macOS sidebar. Furthermore, remember those human-in-the-loop fail-safes we talked about? Well, they act as a hard approval gates that effectively block entirely headless CI/CD execution. Oh, and one more thing. This beta is currently restricted strictly to users aged 18 and older who are located in the United States.
Because this is such a premium tool dealing with heavy workloads, Google has introduced a brand new, centralized usage limits page. You can find it right from the account menu in the bottom left corner of the app. If you or your team are constantly running complex automations, you are definitely going to need to monitor this page closely to make sure you don't slam into your expensive subscription caps during peak usage.
So, let's bring this whole explainer together. Gemini Spark on the macOS beta represents a monumental paradigm shift. We are literally leaping from just chatting with an AI in the cloud to deploying a highly secure, locally integrated workflow automation engine straight onto our personal desktops. It respects your system sandboxing, it strictly waits for human approval before overriding files, and it seamlessly connects your local data with the wider web and your favorite third-party apps.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought to ponder. When you factor in all the time you could save organizing local files, intelligently moving data between different apps, and generating real-time customized reports, is an automated desktop worth $99 a month to your workflow? It's a steep price, for sure, but for the right productivity hacker, it just might become the single most valuable tool on their Mac. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and keep learning.